Hi, you beautiful being. Welcome to this very sacred space. I forgot to turn the volume up. So sorry about that, everyone. I was just like listening to my echo, not realizing we were still listening to my echo. Anyways, I was making sure my mic was good. Hello. I'm just here to share some truths with y'all. I'm here to help us unravel in whatever way and most beneficial for our well-being. And as we navigate this epic journey we call life, mm, welcome. Mm. So, yeah, I'm just here to get really, really honest with you guys. I think more honest here than I have been within my own self lately. And that is that there are some parts of me that feel like along the lines of Christ consciousness coming online. And that's cool. Um, my little human brain goes, that's crazy. You think that? That's crazy. But there is this part of me that if I don't express, if I don't acknowledge, if I don't let in and let be, I get sick. I get very unwell. I feel depressed. I feel lost. I get really, really down in more ways than one. And I've only noticed this through the repetition of, like, I'll have, as an example today, and I'm sharing this with you because maybe there's someone out there that can relate with this, and that is why I tell my stories. When I'm sorry, sometimes there's just a lot that comes in real hot, if you know what I'm talking about. And it takes away everything that I was saying. And so I'm just going to pick up where I intuitively feel guided, which is, oh yeah, there we are. Fear. There's still an enormous fear. I controlled this little corner for about an hour and a half. Maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit. Maybe not. Um, to make it absolutely perfection, to have the perfect frame to record with my perfect setup. And there is nothing perfect about this setup. My camera is sitting. What I'm getting to is you'll never be ready. My camera is sitting on my box of nail polish to hold it up, and I still think it's actually a little bit crooked, but that's okay. We're here. We're doing it. I'm not even going to entertain. Yeah. And so I don't want to feel sick anymore. Oh, that's what I was saying. Midday today, I started getting symptoms of like a stuffy nose, a sore throat, just like congested, and it happened at, let's say, like 2 o'clock, and then it was gone by 5 o'clock. I feel fine now, but I was moving through a lot of stuff today. There was a lot of energy moving, and I think a lot of us are trying to understand symptoms that are going on in our bodies, in our hearts, in our minds, in our soul. Like on the deepest level, you can feel something happening, but there is not explainable, logical definitions as to why. And I'm sure maybe you could, but as an example, I've been experiencing what I would call nerve damage. But I have, or just nerve pain, those like spiky shooting, and I would feel it in my knee, and then I would feel it in my shoulder, and then I'd feel it in my back. And don't get me wrong, there's probably something a little bit deeper that I'm going to go into with my osteopath in the very near future. But I feel like we're being activated, and that is part of the reason I'm right here in this moment sharing this with you, because there are activations happening. And when you notice what happens when you lean into them versus when you lean away from them, when I lean away from these, I don't want to say callings, because they're not callings. They're not like this loud, obvious, here I am, come this way. No, it's like a niggle. It's just a little poke on your bum of like your youngest self going, hey, this looks super fun. And you're like, not now, I have to work, you know? And I think that's part of the reason as well that we don't dedicate as much energy to things that feel fun, because work isn't supposed to be fun. Work is supposed to be like school was, where you have to go to school whether you like it or not. They trained us so well to exercise life in this form. You got to do what you don't want to do from 9 till 5. And you go do it because you get something out of it, just enough to keep you coming back. When we have this birthright to actually tend to our needs and well-being as a first priority. And I'm just going to say this right now. I'm on this same journey with you guys. I don't actually know what's coming out of my mouth as it's coming out. I'm listening. I'm listening. Randy is listening with you as you are hearing this. Our callings are what lights us up. Our our greatest abundance and wealth and healthiest state of being is when your energy has the ability to flow through clearly, right? What do they call that? Life force energy, Shakti energy, prana, right? There's this life force energy. And when we do things that cut that off, life becomes very dull and we end up very ill. And I think that's part of the reason there's so much mental illness. Just a part, maybe a very significant one. That we are trained to cut off our Shakti energy. We're trained that that's how you are worthy, is when you work till your fingers are bleeding and you feel like dying. And then, only and then, I am worthy for that that status or that title, to be that powerful. And then people get up there. Sorry, I'm picking my dinner out of my teeth as I'm saying this. And then when we get up there, we're unfulfilled. and we grinded and scraped our way all the way up that mountain so that we can finally feel some sense of fullness. And we get to the top and we have these big titles and these big bank accounts, but we're empty inside. And this is something that I realized at a pretty young age, I would say, simply because I got into a really good rhythm with something I felt incredibly passionate about. It wasn't my number one passion, but it was one of them. And even when I didn't want to be there for what had ended up being the reason I was there, which was the money I was making, I would make up these excuses of why I was helping the world and why it was important for me to stay in that role. And I'm not quite sure why I'm telling you this, but I trust there is some significance here. And I had two of everything because I lived both at work sometimes and I lived at home. It was shift work, so 2 weeks on, 1 week off. And I made so much money and I only had 1 week to spend it a month, so I bought two of everything. I had two very, very nice, comfortable, expensive beds and two. I didn't have two cars. That was one thing I didn't have because I drove from one destination to the other. But everything that I could put in my house or my bedroom, because I had roommates, I would, I had, a desk here and a desk there, and a bed there and a bed there, and I don't say this to brag, I say it because even with two of everything, when you're not following what actually feeds that life force energy inside of you, no matter what you do, you won't escape the pain of staying in it and the suffering that that will cause. Because every time I stay in something, and specifically I'm talking about a job as well, that is sucking the life out of me, mm, I end up a very angry, unbalanced, ungrounded, miserable human being. And I've done that so many times now to realize that I just can't, I won't even let it get to that point again. And just the subtle symptoms of, I just don't feel good. Like maybe it's not physical illness, but there's just something in me that's just, I don't feel good. And even while I say that, there's like bubbles coming up my throat. But when we acknowledge that I just don't feel good, it lets the energy that is trying to make its way through, yeah. Sometimes our emotions create the energy, right? Emotion, energy in motion. We just let it be there. And it only really hurts when we resist it. I mean, there's still some level of pain, but if it's moving, and that's so interesting as we're holding space here, I've had this pain in the center of my back on the left side, and I'm being very specific because I'm also identifying it and its positioning just so I can acknowledge that, because as I'm acknowledging the energy in motion in my body. The pain is becoming malleable, I want to say. Like it's it feels like it's softening. And I just, for the fun of it, I'm holding these cards. They want to say something always. Not always, but almost always. And this is the Sacred Medicine Oracle. And I want to bring in a little bit of um, spirit tying this in for us, or tying the bow on what is unraveling here. Oh man, I thought this was going to be a totally different card. Rainbow activation, authenticity. So fun that I was talking about activations, and that's why I'm here with you, is to activate something in you, because I'm being activated by people's words and them speaking their truths, and I know that that is something that I must do because I like to talk. And I would way rather be intentional with my communications moving forward and how I want to use this gift, or this sacred voice of mine. And I'm learning it here. I'm learning it here, and I'm really trying to learn to step into it more fully. And if you looked at my past, I've had really great moments and not so great moments, and I've swayed back and forth. And you let your mind and things get to you and tell you that it's not priority and it's not going to build or it's not going to grow or it's whatever. And I forgot that I was coming here for me. I forgot that I was coming here in service to both my well being and the well being of Earth and all of her beings on it. And that doesn't matter if I get 3 views or 3,000 views. What matters is I'm here and I feel better being here. And if I can at least make one other person feel better, and then that one person can go and make one other person feel better, that starts a chain. And even without the chain, just one counts. One is world enough. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be in this space and feel the way I feel when I do listen to what calls, and what is feeding this Shakti energy in my body is intentional communication, intentional speaking, intentional space holding. More bubbles. This is great. This is great, my friends. Thank you for being here. I'm moving some serious stuff, and I can only pray and wish that you are also releasing some blockages here, releasing some resistance or stuck energies in your body, because you deserve to feel better. And when you feel better, you help the other beings around you feel better. And even if that's just a fish, even if it's just a dog, even if it's just a frog on your front porch, even if it's just the tree in your yard, when we feel better, we radiate this energy into the world around us. And people, just like this woman on the path today, I this day was rocky. It was a rocky start. And this woman smiled at me, and Blue, my boy Blue, on the path, and I just thought, thank God, because I was so miserable before she smiled at me. And it's like she gave me some. She gave me some of that light that I was so desperate for in that moment, or should have been at least. I was more in the mood of just like, everybody F off. Don't make eye contact, but I just caught a glimpse. And so it's worth the glimpse. It's worth the glimpse. Even if it's just one and it's really quick. And by glimpse, I mean that sparkle, that love, that energy, Shakti, prana, just, and even if you don't give a glimpse and it's just a vibration that you get to feel in your body and in your heart, in your belly. Hmm. It's so it's worthwhile. It's so worthwhile. Should we read this card? Mm, let's read this card. The number 23 or 5 might be significant. 5, the number of change. Okay, rainbow activation, authenticity. You can spend your entire life trying to feel ready to share your gifts with the world, but what if you gave up on feeling completely ready and just started today? I'm gonna cry. What was I just saying? I spent an hour and a half trying to get ready. This isn't even in the right color light I wanted on. Here, what are we feeling? Is blue a good color? Oh, I kind of like this blue actually. We're gonna change it up. If y'all are still with me, thank you. Thank you. This is some serious stuff. All right. I'm gonna repeat that sentence. I actually need a different light to read this. You can spend your entire life trying to feel ready to share your gifts with the world. But what if you gave up on feeling completely ready and just started today? And that's just it. You can just start. It doesn't have to be this whole like, oh, I need the perfect lighting and the perfect seating and the perfect this and the perfect that and the perfect notebook and the perfect pen and the perfect desk and the perfect lamp and the perfect, you know, mm, I want to do Sunday markets. And I get so overwhelmed. I went from making a service list to ordering a canopy tent to getting this and then that and then a tablecloth. And then I was like, oh, and then I need mini cups. Oh, and then I need this and oh, and then do I want to hand out cacao? And and it just like overcomplicated building in my brain. And that's the funny part. Our human brains want to overcomplicate everything, but what spirit offers us is very simple. What God is guiding us towards, or whatever that higher power energy is to you, it's